Hello everybody, welcome to another Live Monday. My name is Laura Cantu and I am super excited to have you here today for yet another Live Monday. Today we're going to be talking about applying to college, rolling admissions. Last week we spoke about, let me put it on the screen. Last week we talked about applying to college, regular decision. This was a very informative video and I gave you guys a lot of information. You can also go back and watch it if you'd like, because I will reference some stuff that I talked about last week in this video. And today we're talking about a different type of college application called rolling admissions. So as you guys are joining, I just want to welcome you all. I see that Jenna is watching, saying hi Laura. Hi Jenna, how are you? Thank you so much for coming back for our another live stream. And yeah, we also have David in the chat as usual. He is going to be monitoring this live stream. He's going to be answering questions if I happen to miss any questions that you guys ask. And he's just going to be in the chat in case, you know, maybe I am explaining something and I don't get to answer something. He will be in the chat answering the questions. Alrighty. So yeah, let me know where you're joining from, you know, whether you are a parent or a student. And, you know, if you're a parent, let me know what grade your student is in. And if you're a student, let me know what grade you are in. We have Jenna telling us, I loved your UM video and watching from New Jersey. Yes, thank you, Jenna. So yeah, we did post recently. I will share with you, and I can attach it after this live stream. I'll attach the link to like you know, it's called like not a slide. I don't know, but I can attach it to this video. It will be attached right up here, and I can also put it in the suggested videos or in the description. We did just publish a video, just uploaded a video of, let me show you, asking students how they got into the University of Miami. It's a really cool video. We just posted it. Thank you so much, Jenna, for watching it. Yeah, basically what we did is we went to the University of Miami. We live in Florida, in the Fort Lauderdale area, so UM is super close to us. We decided to go visit it, to do a little tour, to you know, film some footage, interview some students, ask them about their personal experience, what they did to help them, you know, get accepted into the University of Miami, which is a great institution. And we had a lot of fun doing that. And we are going to continue to go to schools. So if there's any schools that you would like us to do in the future, we might be able to go. With COVID, things are a little tricky right now, but we're going to start local with Florida and hopefully expand soon. But thank you, Jenna, for your comment, and thank you for joining from New Jersey. We are in Florida, as I said, and I hear you guys are having very, very cold weather. My boyfriend's from Connecticut, and he has told me that the past, you know, few days have just been brutal, and it's just going to be more cold. So good luck with the weather. Hopefully you guys, you know, don't freeze, because I don't know, I cannot even imagine. I went to college in New York. Me and my brother David, we went to Marist College, and I don't know how I mean, I like cold weather, don't get me wrong, I like the snow and all that, but sometimes it was just like unbearable. I guess I'm just used to the Florida weather now. Alrighty, so as I said, today we're talking about applying to college, rolling admissions. I will be giving you tips. I will be explaining what rolling admissions is in the first place, because we do have a lot of parents that ask us, you know, what college admissions are, rolling admissions is, because it is, you know, not as common as, you know, regular decision, what we talked about last week, or as early action, early decision. A lot of colleges, popular colleges, do rolling admissions, and some students don't even know, or parents don't even know, that these colleges offer these this type of application. I will share some of the, you know, most popular schools that do rolling admissions. I will share tips on when to apply rolling admissions, you know, how to maximize your odds of getting accepted. If you want to apply rolling admissions, when's the best time to apply. etc. I will talk about the advantages of this and disadvantages. And I will just give you some insight on this type of application that a lot of colleges in the United States offer. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you are new and you're just joining our channel. Subscribe. We go live every Monday. Let me share the live stream schedule with you. We go live every Monday at 1 p.m. We have our Spanish broadcast, which takes place in our Spanish channel, Best College Aid. And at 3 p.m. we have our English live stream on Facebook and on YouTube, which is this channel, whether you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube. We go live in English. And then tomorrow we will be live, and every Tuesday after that we will be live on Instagram and on TikTok. All right, so why don't we go ahead and get started with that being said. What is rolling admissions? You know, what is this type of application? A lot of schools use rolling admissions, but today I'm just going to share a few of them. But before I share with you the schools that do rolling admissions, let's start by describing what rolling admissions is, RA. So basically with rolling admissions, colleges will evaluate applications as they are received. So this is the biggest difference and the biggest, factor that, you can, I guess, identifies what rolling admissions is. When a student is applying to colleges, usually, with regular decision, there is a regular decision deadline. There is an early action or early decision if the student, if the school offers early deadlines. But with rolling admissions, usually there is not a set deadline. So colleges will just accept applications, as the year goes by, and usually they will close the applications once they have met the cap of the amount of students that they can accept and they need to fill out a class. For example, there's a school that will have rolling admissions and the application will open in, September, and they have 1,500 spots open. As soon as those 1,500 spots are filled out, they will close applications and no more students can apply. Now, I do want to clarify that with rolling admissions, there are some deadlines, which I will explain in a little bit. It's not all schools that do rolling admissions, have that policy where it just opens and closes as soon as the max amount of students have been accepted. There are rolling admissions that do priority deadline, and there are some requirements that students that do priority deadline when they're doing rolling admissions, some colleges do have some requirements. So it is important to know these, because if a student is planning to apply rolling admissions, there is a strategy to it, just like there's a strategy with early action and early decision, just like, there should be a strategy with regular decision. With every single type of application, there should be a strategy from the student, whether it is, being prepared and having all your SAT and ACT scores ready if you're applying early, or whether it is, giving yourself time to study and take the ACT and SAT senior year, in the beginning of senior year, so you apply regular decision. There's always, and there should always be a strategy behind choosing a type of application. And I know that sounds confusing. It is not a confusing topic, but there are a lot of things a student can do to maximize their odds of acceptance. And with rolling admissions, there are also, ways to maximize your odds of acceptance and odds of receiving financial aid. There has to be a strategy behind it, and that's why we're going to talk about the pros and cons of rolling admissions. All right, but before we get there, let's keep talking about, what rolling admissions is. When a student applies rolling admissions, they will receive their decision letter. They will find out whether or not they were accepted into this university within 6 or 8 weeks after applying. So it's kind of nice, a student will apply and they will know, max by 8 weeks whether or not they were accepted into the university, which is different than other schools, that don't really have a set date to let students know when they're applying, or a student can apply in, December for a regular decision, and they might not find out until April. So there's like a long waiting period, and the student might be a little stressed, waiting for that decision letter. With rolling admissions, the student applies, and within 6 or 8 weeks, they know, okay, I was accepted or I wasn't accepted. So that's another thing to know about rolling admissions. And some colleges that do rolling admissions also set a priority deadline. So remember when I said earlier that there's not a set deadline for schools that do rolling admissions, but there are some exceptions? Well, there are some colleges that do have a priority deadline, which is not like a set in stone deadline, and students can still apply after this priority deadline. But when we talk about the cons, I will explain this more in depth. If a student, is looking to apply to a school, like the Penn State University, which I will explain a little bit, they do rolling admissions, and they do have a priority deadline. If a student wants to go there and they really want to get accepted into that school because it's their top choice, it's recommended that they apply before the priority deadline, because, chances of getting accepted after that priority deadline, they decrease, because, usually the students who really want to go to Penn State University, they will apply early. And in general, if a student wants to go to a school that does rolling admissions, if the student is going to be applying to a school that does rolling admissions and is a school that they really want to go to or get accepted into, ideally, we recommend our students at Best College Aid and any student to apply as early as possible. All right. All right, so let's talk about some examples and important dates of rolling admissions. All right, so here you can see some logos from some really popular universities like the University of Florida, Penn State University, the University of Maine, etc. So why don't I share with you the websites from some of these universities and their important deadlines, because these are schools that do rolling admissions. So let's start with, let me share my screen with you. It should be working. There you go, it worked. By the way, hopefully everyone's good in the chat. Remember to ask your questions because David's monitoring this live stream, and I will be answering your questions at the end of this video, so don't forget. All right, so the University of Maine, right? So this is the undergraduate admissions, portal. Every college has a portal where they, share all their information. I'm gonna try to move this to a place where it's not blocking. I might just, completely take it off just for, so you guys can see this for now. All right, so this is the first year admission deadlines, right? So as you can see, these are the first year admissions deadlines. For fall admissions, we have the early action deadline. So the University of Maine will do an early action deadline, which is in December. And then there are regular admissions suggested application deadline, which is March 1st. And for the spring's admissions, they're just basically listing all their deadlines, right? So let me see. What was I going to show you guys? All right, I guess it's not. Hold on. All right, so as you can see, the University of Maine has, they have their first year admissions deadline, and they have a suggested deadline, as you could see right here. They have a suggested application deadline, which is March 1st, but as that's like rolling admissions, is suggested, is not set, is not a set deadline. All right, so let's move on to a different school, a different portal. Where is it? Sorry, I completely lost my tabs. All right, so let's go to UF. So dates and deadlines for freshman applicants. So now we are in the UF application portal, and we can see that the application usually opens for the University of Florida in mid-August, right? And then we have November 1st, there is the application due. There's an application due for this is like early application. And then there is the priority deadline over here. Priority freshman decisions, students will find out, from that priority deadline on February 25th. And, there are other deadlines. So all this information, it can be found in the college's official websites. And there are colleges that do rolling admissions, like we just saw for the University of Maine, there is a suggested deadline. That's in other words, rolling admissions, and they suggest that you apply by that date. And then I talked about UPenn, Penn State, not UPenn. Penn State has, different deadlines. For example, they do have an early action deadline that has to be completed by November 1st. And they do have the rolling admissions deadline that's, they suggest having this submitted by December 1st, and students will, be notified by January 31st. So super, if they submit it by December 1st, students will find out fairly soon. Like I said earlier, 6 to 8 weeks after applying, if they were admitted or not. Now, this is kind of like their priority deadline. There's another rolling admissions, which, can be submitted after December 1st. And this is, they will find out as, whether or not they're accepted. But Penn State does 2 rolling admissions. This one over here, the one on the top, is their priority deadline, where the school tells you, we recommend you that you submit the application by December 1st, so you can find out by January 31st if you were accepted or not. And then they also have, the rolling admissions, where they can apply after December 1st, and it's kind of like on a rolling basis, but they won't find out by January 31st. And if they apply later than that, like I said earlier, the chances of getting accepted decrease. So that is just something to keep in mind, and just wanted to share those examples with you. All right, so now that I shared some schools and some dates and examples of rolling admissions, let's move on to the advantages of applying rolling admission. So what are some advantages? If a student applies, rolling admissions, they don't have to wait as long to receive an admissions decision, right? If they, like I said earlier, 6 to 8 weeks till they find out whether or not they were accepted. When the students do regular decision, unless they're doing early action or early decision, they find out early. Sometimes they do have to wait, a while until they find out, and it can make it very stressful because, the student's just kind of like waiting there to find out if they got accepted into school or not. So that's an advantage that could be an advantage of rolling admissions, having that time period where okay, I'm going to hear within this time frame from this school. Another advantage is it can make the application process less stressful if the student is organized, if the student, there is not a set deadline, so they're not like, oh my gosh, I have until January 1st to do this. Obviously, it's recommended with rolling admissions, if there is a priority deadline and a student really wants to get accepted into a school like Penn State, the student applies before the priority deadline. But, it's less stressful because you're not thinking like, it depends on the student too, because there are some students who are like, oh, well, they put it off and they will procrastinate and not submit the application on time. And there are some students who are like, you know what, there's no deadline, but I want to get this over with. Let's just apply. So definitely depending on the student, it can be a less stressful process. All right, another advantage of rolling admissions is if used strategically, rolling admissions can help maximize the odds of getting accepted. So like I said earlier, with rolling admissions, if the student knows what schools they're applying to, when the priority deadline is, if there is a deadline, when the application opens is, what the policies are for the school, the chances of getting accepted could increase. But again, there has to be a strategy. This only happens if the rolling admissions, application is used strategically. So that's when, doing research, finding out when's the best time to apply for specific schools is, it doesn't just happen, oh, I'm just going to apply rolling admissions at any point and I'm going to get accepted. There has to be a strategy behind it, Usually students who apply for rolling admissions and they will wait till the last minute, they might not even get accepted. It's more competitive because more students maybe applied early action, early decision, and maybe they got denied or they didn't get accepted or they didn't get the financial aid that they wanted. So they're applying to, their second choices or last minute schools, and, it might make it more competitive. So I always recommend that if a student's applying rolling admissions, that they apply as early as possible. Alrighty. So with that being said, let's talk about the disadvantages of applying rolling admissions. All right, so some spots do fill out very quickly with rolling admissions. Penn State is a school that, those spots do fill out quickly, or students really want to go to this school because it's a huge school, and they do have the priority deadline and, regular rolling admissions deadline. So it's recommended that if a student wants to go to a school like Penn State that has rolling admissions, a school that is very popular, they apply early because slots do fill out quickly. And you don't want to be the type of student, or you don't want your student to be the one, to wait till the last minute and miss out on getting accepted, because again, rolling admissions, there is a cap on how many students they can accept, and that's when they close applications or when it gets really, really competitive. So again, if the student's not strategic about it, they could miss out on getting accepted. So there's also less odds of receiving financial aid and scholarships. So yes, if a student applies to rolling admissions, there are schools that, have rolling admissions and they have the priority deadline. And they have policies where they say if a student applies before the priority deadline, they will be eligible to receive institutional aid from the school and scholarships. They have those policies. So there's students who, they don't know this because they didn't do their research, or, they just procrastinated and applied, after the priority deadline, and they miss out on the opportunity of having financial aid and scholarships because they were not informed. So this could be a disadvantage, So that's why it's always important to check, these websites, the ones that we were sharing earlier, where they have all the information, the deadlines, the requirements, everything, that the student, prefer regular decision filing day, all that information that these type of websites offer to students. It's important that students really just dive deep into these websites, because there's, not fine print, but there's a lot of insightful information that could, make or break whether or not a student receives financial aid or doesn't, receives the most amount of financial aid or does not. So it's important that students do the research, they read the websites, and they are on top of their applications, even if it is rolling admissions, because even though, the description says colleges accept applications on a rolling basis, this doesn't mean that you can apply at any point. It's basically just when you send the application, there is a time period that you will hear from, rather than a specific date when you will find out, or the student will find out, oh, this is, basically like acceptance day, when this school releases their acceptance letters. With rolling admissions, students will hear from schools in a rolling basis. So don't think that just because it's rolling admissions, you can wait till the last minute, because it could really, really work against your favor or against you or your students, And finally, less time to work on college applications. This could be a disadvantage. As I said, some schools do, the priority deadline, right? I showed you Penn State. Penn State has their priority deadline that takes place in December 1st. December 1st is their priority deadline, right? So that's early. That's before the first semester of senior year ends. So if a student has to send that, or if it's better for a student to send their application by December 1st, you know, they might have a little less time than a student who has, you know, until February 1st for rolling for regular decision, or January 15th, you know, because those regular decision deadlines are until February or January. So, you know, in some cases, if the rolling admission school does priority deadline, it could affect the student. So definitely keep that in mind. You know, they might have less time to work on their application if they're applying to a rolling admission school that has a priority deadline. All right, so those were the disadvantages. I want to remind you all that last week we talked about applying to college regular decision, and that video is here in our channel. I will attach it to this video and you know, put a little link so you can click on it if you're interested in watching, because it was a very informative video. And you know, maybe you can watch both of them, this video and you know, the video for regular decision, and you can start, you know, understanding more about the different types of applications offered by colleges. All right, so just to summarize, what's rolling admissions? You know, rolling admissions is a type of college application where colleges would, you know, evaluate applications as they are received, and they give out, you know, acceptance letter on a rolling basis. You know, within 6 to 8 weeks after the student, you know, submits their application, they will reach out to the student. And once again, another thing I want to clarify or say again, remember that just because a school does rolling admission, it does not mean that, you know, you can wait until the last minute, because these spots do fill out. Some schools are competitive, or some schools are very popular, and students will want to get their applications in, you know, early. And also remember and keep in mind those priority deadlines, right? Priority deadlines is basically the school telling students, you know, this is when we suggest you submit your application by, if you either want to receive the most financial aid, if you want to have the most chances of getting accepted, and you know, so it's not as competitive as it will be after the priority deadline. So definitely research this, talk to your student, make sure that they understand and that they know if they're applying to a school that does rolling admissions, right? Because actually there's a lot of students that are applying to a school and they don't even know that a school does rolling admissions. They think that is regular decisions, because sometimes it is confusing. But you know, always encourage your student to have a strategy behind every application that they send, whether it is a reach school, a target school, or a safety school. All right. Also, watch our applying to college regular decision live stream from last week if you have any questions about regular decision. And finally, make sure that you watch our new video that we posted yesterday. It's called Asking Students How They Got into the University of Miami. We literally just posted this video yesterday, and it's an amazing video where we went down to we talked to students. It was really fun. They gave us, you know, all their insight, all their intel on, you know, what type of students they were in high school, what they did, you know, during the application process to get accepted. And we also show you a little bit of, you know, some B-roll, some footage of the beautiful campus. So definitely go check it out. It's a great video. I hope you enjoy it. It was so much fun making it. And yeah, all right. That's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have an incredible week. And if you're up north, like Jenna in New Jersey, stay warm. And I hope to see you again very, very soon. Have an amazing week.